Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and in this video we're going to be fulfilling a Patron request that I got, which was what is the most dangerous solo flight capable ship in the verse. And I think they can take on a few different types of forms, so I'm going to really try and break these down into different situations, which leads to 4 different ships coming in mind that are going to be dangerous in very different ways. So I think the most traditional one we can address is in the fighter category, because that's what we have in game for the most part now, and danger equals combat in a lot of people's minds. Now there's a lot of ships that are considered fighters in the game, but there's one that comes to mind that I would say is more dangerous than any of the others, and that's the Sabre. Now, it's not the fastest option out there, but it is fast. And it's not the most durable fighter either, but it's got good shields. And it doesn't have the most weapons on it, but it has big ones for its size. Basically, with good speed and agility, 4 size 3 weapon hardpoints, a decent missile loadout, and stealth, you have a ship that's capable of striking from the shadows and bringing a lot of firepower to bear on its target. That target can end up being larger because it's nimble enough to stay out of the firing arcs while carrying weapons big enough to actually deal damage to it, and getting the first jump by having the stealth is an advantage. And what if the ship is smaller or faster? That's fine. It can still deal with those because it has just enough agility and it's not that far behind in speed either, so it can still deal with those targets. Now there's other contenders that we could talk about, like the Buccaneer or the Super Hornet, but frankly the Sabre strikes a lot of high notes in a really well-rounded combat package that is really just pretty hard to beat when it comes to fighters. Up next, we're going to kind of move into what I'll call the Alpha Strike category. That first hit weaponry that just scares the hell out of people. The one that can cripple your ship before you can know what to do. And the ship for that role is going to be the Eclipse. You know, it's the new stealth bomber in the Star Citizen verse. Now, it does lack in traditional weaponry like guns, but it does carry 3 size 9 torpedoes that are some of the largest available in the game. In fact, just listed 1 size below the Capital Class Polaris. Now, the Eclipse isn't going to be a ship that you want to hang around and do a lot of fighting in because the weaponry and durability and all that kind of stuff is a little bit subpar. But if your goal is just to inflict as much damage as possible to a target, the Eclipse is really a pretty outstanding option. It's a medium-range craft. It's probably going to be the stealthiest ship in the game at release. It can follow targets without being detected, and it can wait for the best time to attack, maybe even when those shields drop, and then unleash up to 3 big-ass torpedoes designed to rearrange that enemy ship. If stealth ability of this ship is as high as it's being described as, and if there's any reason to ever drop your shields while operating, this ship is going to be the one that really just scares people, probably more than just about any other. It's like when you go swimming in the ocean, and you know there's probably a shark out there in the ocean, you know there's definitely one somewhere, but you're not sure where. That's the Eclipse. Now, the next ship that I'm going to be putting into this most dangerous category is the ship that just brings the most weapons to bear and is really the only dedicated gunboat in the game, and that's the Redeemer. Now, sure, it's needing a massive rework, but we know it's going to be bringing even more weapons to the ship. And sure, you could say that some of the weapons are on turrets, so it's not really a solo craft. But I would end up contesting that through the avionics modules that we end up having released to us in the ATVs that we know are coming, that are going to allow turret control via pilot or through automation. So what you end up getting is a ship that's covered in weapons and carrying missiles. Additionally, it's got a pretty large shield that matches what other larger vessels actually have, but it's a smaller ship, meaning that depending on how the mechanics of shielding ends up working, it's either going to be thicker and harder to bring down, or it's just going to have more sustainability or a faster recharge rate when you're taking fire. The catch with the Redeemer in this category is that it's going to be about using it in the right situation. For example, I'm not sure a Redeemer is going to be a good option against fighters, at least faster ones. In fact, I think a Sabre probably ends up beating a Redeemer based on the positioning ability and depending on if you only have one person in there or automated turrets. But we haven't really flown the Redeemer yet, so we don't really know. Now, past that, though, Connies, Cutlass, Freelancers, Caterpillars, and most of the cargo ships are going to be in a lot of trouble if they're faced up against this ship. The Redeemer outguns, probably outflies, and has more durability than many of those targets, meaning that if you see this bull coming at you, it's probably best to just raise an alarm and find an exit strategy and get out. And the last one we're going to discuss is the one that I'm putting into the unconventional category, and that's going to be the Herald. Now, Danger in Star Citizen is going to take on a lot of forms, and the Herald brings 2 that we haven't really discussed into the conversation. First off, with the arrays on board, the ship is designed to carry information, but it also has usefulness in hacking gameplay. Hacking into an enemy ship and dropping their shields, pretty scary. Hacking into disabling turret defenses, that's also scary. How about in non-ship situations, like hacking a beacon to send somebody to the wrong location, or to simulate a rescue mission that ends up basically being a trap? The trickster elements of the Herald make it a scary ship to deal with because you don't know what you're going to end up expecting with it. The other risk is with losing important data. Let's say you just spent a few weeks gathering exploration data and you're getting ready to go sell that for a juicy profit, only to get to that space dock and find out that that data was already sold. Or you scout around, you find a sweet new asteroid location that has great mining. You transmit that information off to your organization, and by the time they get there, they find that another organization has already laid claim and has a ton of protection ready to keep it. Those are risks that are associated with losing your data, either via active hacking or through kind of like transmission collection, and the Herald can take on both of those roles. Now, once it takes the data, it's also going to be basically the fastest ship in the game in a straight line, making it damn near impossible to catch and retrieve your valuable information, making it a scary ship to deal with. So there you have it. Those are my 4 most dangerous ships capable of being flown solo in Star Citizen. This is a little bit subjective, so if you guys have ones that you think fit the bill better, toss them in the comments. It's kind of just an interesting topic to discuss. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for more, and have a great day. Take care.